Hello, everyone. Welcome to another live interview session here at the PAME Code Facebook group Season of Grit and Resilience. I'm Emmy, your host, and today our very special guest is the leader of the Free Mama movement and a thriving community of over 7,000 women. She's passionate about showing other moms how to start and run a successful freelance business from home. And she's here with us today to talk about building the resilience to find opportunity within the obstacles. I'm really excited to have her here. And so, without further ado, let's all welcome Lauren Golden.
Hello.
Lauren.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to talk to you and your audience today.
Awesome. And thank you very much for coming and to share your expertise with us. You have such a fantastic story, and I'm sure people will, learn so much from you. So, for those people who haven't heard of you before, could you tell us a bit about you and what are your passions? What makes you excited and what makes you tick?
Absolutely. So my name is Lauren Golden, and I'm the founder of the Free Mama and the Free Mama movement. And I'm passionate about being a mom. I knew I wanted to be a mom since I was a little girl. It was always going to be a part of my story. And what happened in my life is that by the time that my husband and I were able to get pregnant with our first child, it was not a financial possibility for me to stay home. And I had grown up with a stay-at-home mom. And so this vision that I had had since I was a little girl about what motherhood would look like all of a sudden was not coming into the picture. And something really interesting happened for me when I went back from maternity leave after our first daughter was born. And that's that I realized I love working. Like, I actually really like it. I enjoy using my brain in really stretching, kind of challenging ways. I love feeling accomplished with projects and things that I get to do. Yet I was still conflicted that I wasn't showing up as the mom that I wanted to be. And so it wasn't until 2 years later, after our second child was born, our son, that I realized that there had to be a better way. And so my mission, honestly, in life is to let mothers know that you don't have to choose between your family and financial stability. And so that's how the Free Mama movement came about. I was very successful at developing a freelancing career where I was able to work from home and be there with my babies. And now that's exactly what I get to teach other moms how to do as well. So I love everything about my business, about my family. I mean, I think that it is possible for all of us to have it all. I think you just have to have the courage to go after it.
Fantastic. And I can see you're really shining and beaming with energy. And, I love it because you don't really have to sacrifice your ambitions, your ability to use your brain and to use your talents, but at the same time, really fulfill yourself as a mother. So how did you align those two roles? Because sometimes there could be a clash.
Absolutely. So I think for me, it was about control. It was about being able to control my time, my schedule. My youngest kids, even when I came home from the 9 to 5, they still went to childcare part-time. So it wasn't about trying to do everything and be everything to everybody all the time, which I think is one of the mistakes a lot of moms make. We put this pressure on ourselves that we have to be everything all the time. And for me, it was about being able to have the control over when I got to do things, who I got to do them with, and what it looked like. And so we actually continued to keep our kids in childcare part-time the day where I would be able to work exclusively without feeling torn. And then I was able to, turn my computer off and go back to my family and be able to be at home with them. And still, as my kids have gotten older and my oldest is in elementary school now, if there's a volunteer opportunity at school or whatever it is, and I want to be there, I have the control because I own my own business that I can do that. I don't have to ask anybody's permission. I don't have to, tell somebody what that's going to look like. Another example of that for me is sick days. Whether it's that I'm sick or a kid is sick, it just doesn't matter because I have the flexibility and control to move things around and still get everything accomplished in a reasonable amount of time. So, I might be a little bit of a control freak, but I love having my control. And so if you're willing to put in the work and get things done, I think that it's completely realistic to manage both.
Absolutely. And actually we know from psychology, that the more control that you have in your job and in what you do, the more satisfaction that you get. So having a business, for some people, this could be overwhelming. But in your case, I can see you do have a lot of grit. You do have a lot of resilience. And this is really important. Could you give us a few tips and, some words of wisdom from you in terms of running and growing in your business and also running a family, really? Where does resilience and grit come in?
Well, I want to backtrack if I can just for 1 second, because you hit on a word that I love, and that's overwhelm. Not that I love being overwhelmed, but it is so easy to fall into overwhelm. And something that I actually teach the moms in my community is that there's the relationship between overwhelm, and I'm not a psychologist, but this is just through my own experience, the relationship between being overwhelmed and being empowered is actually really close together. And the thing that bridges those two things is experience. And so you have to actually do something. It's kind of the fear of the unknown that leaves us in that state of overwhelm. We don't know how it's going to work out. We don't know if it's going to work out. What is that potential client going to say to me? Am I going to get that job that I'm bidding out, or whatever it is? And you feel overwhelmed because you don't have that control, like we just talked about. And the only way to get over to the empowered side, which is the energy you see from me now, is through experience. And experience, by definition, is taking action. And so this is the place where I work with moms the most. I do have a small group of moms that I actually coach and I work with one-on-one. And it's about getting out of your own way. And I've learned through business that mindset is like 95% of the battle. If you can just be 5% good at running a business and 95% you've got control over your mindset, you're going to be good to go. And it's that ability to kind of push the fear aside, push, what are other people going to think about me? Is this going to work out? Fear of success, fear of failure, all those different things. And the ability to go, you know what? I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to put myself out there anyway. I'm going to reach out to that potential client. I'm going to say yes to this job that maybe I've never done this work before, but I'm confident in my ability to figure it out and be resourceful. And to me, it's the moms that are willing to do that. They're willing to go for it anyway. Those every single time are the ones that end up being successful.
Absolutely. So there's a lot of mindset there. It actually ties into our previous season. We were talking about courage, people feeling the fear and just really going for it and do it with action. It really, as you say, with experience, you take action, you build your experience, you gain more knowledge, and you reduce the fear because you are learning more about it. But for some people who have taken that leap and have already taken action, how do you keep that up? How do you because it's not going to be perfect the first time around. How do you keep going? How do you pick yourself up when things aren't really going the way you want them to go?
Exactly. So that's the resilience part of the conversation, right? Exactly. So the ability to bounce back, as I would call it. How do you bounce back? So let's say, for example, that you are trying to start a business and you're telling your friends or your family, and maybe they don't really understand, so they're not being supportive. Or maybe you're reaching out to prospective clients and you're getting some no's. I think that there's a saying, I always get it backwards, but attention goes where energy goes where attention flows. That one, I always say it backwards, but you know what I'm talking about. And it's so true. And so I think it's really important to remain positive. And then I also, and this could be my personality type, but I think it's really, really sound is put the emotions to the side. It's easy to get emotional and then kind of, feel sorry for ourselves or go back to the state of overwhelm. But if you can use logic to solve your problems, okay, great. I've only talked to one prospective client. That prospective client said no. Okay, it's not the end of the world. That was one person. And a lot of business in particular is a numbers game. So if you can use logic to go, okay, well, I'm logically likely to get maybe 20% of the people that I talk to, or 10% if you want to be really conservative. Well, that means you have to talk to 10 people to get one potential client who's actually interested. And so I think one way to bounce back is to use logic and not fall into, maybe how you're feeling about it. Not that feelings aren't important or valid, but to use logic to go, okay, what do I actually have control over? to make sure that I'm giving myself and my business the best chance possible to be successful.
Love it. So you use logic. So if you want to close more deals, to have more clients, you can expect to get rejected, but it's only a numbers game really. So you have to talk to more people, to close a deal. But how do you pick yourself? Like it's so crushing, isn't it? Sometimes do you just get used to it, or can you use it? Because with your talk, it says building resilience to find opportunity within obstacles. How do you find opportunities when people say no?
Well, I have found in my own experience that some of the greatest opportunities in my life have come from not necessarily failure, although some of them were failures too, oversights, but from some of our biggest obstacles. And this is actually something that I have worked on over this last year, is changing my mindset around this, is to not only not be afraid of challenges or rejection, but to actually embrace it, because you know that something beautiful is on the other side of it, whether it's a new opportunity or your ability to share your story through that experience, through that hardship. And that has been a huge theme in my business. It actually wasn't until I had a miscarriage that I quit my 9-to-5. I had been talking about it for years. I had been talking about it, but I was so afraid. And then this thing happened to me that, I grieved. It was horrible to go through and it was emotional. And yet on the other side of it was perspective called, okay, I don't have control over everything. Life happens. Bad stuff happens. Rejection happens. Failure happens. But what are you going to do with it? And for me, that was the first time in my life where it was like, okay, I'm going to get control back over the situation. What do I have control of? I have control over the fact that I keep showing up at a job that I hate. I have the ability to do something about that. And it was 1 week later that I walked in and quit. When I first launched the Free Mama movement, the first 3 times that I did a free training online using paid advertising. So I'd spent money for people to show up. And the first 3 times I did it, no one showed up. No one. I could have thrown in the towel and been like, nobody needs this. Nobody cares. I'm not good enough. I can't do this. But now I wouldn't have a community of 7,000 women that I get to impact less than 1 year later from when that happened. So I think it's understanding that, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with this book, but it's coming to me right now. Have you ever read The Obstacle is the Way?
Oh, one of our members actually mentioned that, but tell us a little bit more about that.
It's a great book, but it's the same concept of what I'm talking about, where, we're going to encounter obstacles, whatever your journey is, whatever path you're walking on right now, you're going to encounter obstacles. And it's not really about going around them or finding a way over them or anything like that. Life is about, and like the grit and resilience you're talking about comes from going right through the obstacle. So you live it, you experience it, and then it makes you stronger. It makes you more of who you are, and it empowers you with all this armor that you get to take with you to the next obstacle. And I just found it a really, really insightful book, because I think we always, I think it's easier to think about, well, how do I avoid that big boulder in the way? Like, what is the best way to get away from this? And it's really empowering to go, yeah, no, we're just going to go right through that sucker. And it's a little cliche, but it's a little like, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And so you're going to get through it, and you're going to learn from it, because it's going to give you the perspective that you need to get what you need on the other side of it. So it's a great book. I really recommend it. And it's kind of exactly what we're talking about today.
Absolutely. So yes, obstacles happen. You just have to accept that, it will happen, but what do you make out of it? And as you've mentioned, it's about mindset. It's having that growth mindset, embracing all the experience, embracing all the lessons that you learn along the way, and take it forward.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. So in terms of building the resilience, embracing all obstacles, we've learned about looking at logic. You mentioned logic, and also just really embracing and accepting obstacles, and taking mindset, having a growth mindset to absorb the lessons. If if there are people who would like to reach out to you and to learn more about the Free Mama movement, how can they learn more about that?
Well, you're watching this on Facebook, which is great because it's the best way to connect with me. It's my favorite platform as well. So you can connect with my page at The Free Mama, and then you can join our Facebook group if you want to be a part of it. And it's the Free Mama Movement Facebook group.
And what exactly is that group? What do you do there, and what, yeah, who's in that group?
Yeah, so obviously moms. So I am talking to any moms who believe that they can have it all. Specifically, I empower moms to build home-based freelancing businesses, whether that's being a virtual assistant, a social media manager, a bookkeeper. Basically, I teach you how to use the skills you already have and turn it into a profitable home-based business.
Fantastic. Well, we do have mamas in the group, and there are those who would like to run and start a business. And if they're feeling overwhelmed, or they have skills that they can use, and if they want to maximize that and share that to the world, and do their own business, and then you're the person to follow, and that's the group to join.
Love it. I'd be happy to support you. It'd be my pleasure.
You'll learn more about resilience in that group, right? Because I can see you're all about mindset, you're all about grit, you're all about bouncing back, embracing obstacles, and learning about learning the lessons that come your way.
Absolutely. I look at it that, we've got this life to live, and it's up to you to do something about it. Nobody's going to make your dreams happen for you. So whatever you want to get out of this life, it's just my goal to empower people to go after it.
Fantastic. Very inspiring. Thank you very much, Lauren. And
You're welcome.
We really appreciate that you've come and join us. And for those mamas who are interested, feel free to visit the Free Mama movement. You'll learn so much from there about business. We don't talk a lot about business in our group, but if you'd like to learn more about that, then that's a group to go to.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Lauren. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye. Bye-bye.